How's it going, folks? Taylor Wachowski here. In today's video, I'll be talking about bites. Dog bites. When they happen, why they happen, and what you should do should a dog ever bite you. So first off, let's just start out by saying that 95% of dog bites come out of fear. Okay, it's a fear reaction that a dog feels the need to lash out just to stop whatever they feel is threatening them, threatening a friend of theirs, threatening their person or their food. Generally, when dogs bite, it's not meant to do damage. It's just meant to let you know, hey, stay away, back away from me. Dogs don't do it just to be jerks as much as they seem like they're jerks, like people think cats are jerks. They're not. They're reactive animals. They're predators. Chances are they've told you a lot through body language and animal communication to leave them alone. And you apparently didn't get that memo, and so you force them to use force. Dog or cat or animal, whatever it is, might say, hey, this person's not getting my clues. They're not listening to me. They're not respecting me. They're not doing what I ask them. So let me nip them real quick and let them know that way. Let me give them a quick correction and say, hey, maybe they'll get it then. When do dog bites occur? Well, pretty much any time. Dog may bite for seemingly any reason, but there's usually one reason in particular that is why they bite. If you put too much pressure on a dog, as in social pressure, you're petting them too much, getting too close to them and getting in their space, in their face, you won't leave them alone, and they've been asking you, hey, leave me alone, through dog body language. If you don't listen, that's putting too much pressure on them. Then they may give you a corrective nip. Now there's the difference. The difference between a nip and a bite is that a nip is usually a bite and release. It may break the skin a little bit, it may leave a bruise, but it's really just a warning. They're not trying to do damage. They're not taking a chunk out of you. In my experience, a true bite is when they are trying to take a chunk out of you, and they will. They mean to do damage to you. Now, that's a very small percentage of dogs out there. Whether the dog has been trained by people to bite and take down the threat until it's gone and take chunks out and break your face and whatnot, or they find the behavior itself rewarding enough. They reinforce themselves by doing a fun behavior such as biting someone, taking down a prey animal, okay? There's actually a really small percentage of actual dogs out there who will really try to take your face off. And even then, in that moment, they're likely defending themselves or protecting themselves, their food, their shelter, whatever it is that they find to be worth it to take you out if you are perceived as a threat to them, they're going to take you down. Even so, it's out of fear. Not necessary, but still out of fear. So say a dog nips you, right? Dog comes up behind you, nips your leg, nips you on the calf, nips you here on the arm. What do you do about it, right? Well, first, decide, why did it happen? Anytime a dog bites a person, it's going to be a human fault. Now, I'm not saying it's always necessarily the person who gets bitten is going to be their fault. I'm not going to blame everybody who gets bitten. All I'm saying is that if a dog reacts and they end up biting a human, something caused that dog to react to bite that human. Whether the dog was trained, whether the dog was spooked and they just reacted, blah, 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 whatever it may be, humans were involved in creating that type of behavior. So for example of a corrective nip, okay? Dogs talk to each other through nipping and biting. Nobody takes it personally, except for people. People take it personally. They blame the dog. If a dog bites a human, whose fault is it? The humans. But who gets blamed for it? The dog, unfortunately. And it's never been the dog's fault in the first place. As humans who bring these animals into our very sophisticated, very fast-paced, energetic lives, it's our responsibility to look out for them, to have the best intention for these animals, to keep them and us safe. Example, there's a young lady at a local pet store. She has her dog with her, but the dog is on a long leash, maybe a retractable leash, maybe at the end of a 6-foot, 8-foot leash, who knows. The young lady is looking at the food. She's really into the products on the back, looking through all the ingredients to make sure there's not a bunch of fillers and whatnot. Good for her, but her dog is going around the edge of this little aisle and around to the next aisle, and she doesn't notice that there's a small child running towards the dog. So the dog is around the corner, minding its own business, being a dog, and a 2-year-old runs up to the dog and says, oh, puppy, puppy, you know, they want to go pet it, they want to go play with it, whatever a 2-year-old does. So for whatever reason, this child is not being supervised, and the dog is also not being supervised. Bad mix, right? So the little kid runs up to the dog, the dog reacts, the dog snaps, gives a warning bite, and releases, and that's that. The kid ends up getting maybe a small bruise, maybe a little scrape, and they fall down and start crying. And what really happens? The kid learns a lesson, don't run up on dog. The dog learns a lesson. The lady learns a lesson. The owner of the dog learns the lesson that, oh, maybe I shouldn't let my dog go around the corner. I need to watch out for that. Maybe even the adult parent of the young child will then learn, hey, I shouldn't let my kid run around the store, of an animal store, no less, and maybe get in trouble. Now, in a perfect world, everybody would learn a lesson there, right? The people, most importantly, would learn that lesson. But guess what really happens? This dog gets reported. They get a check mark on their name saying that they have bitten someone. You get 3 check marks and you're out. Now, if this dog is reported, it's totally unnecessary and it's unfair to the dog because the dog did absolutely nothing wrong. It was the responsibility of that owner to watch their own animal, regardless of where they are. Obviously, it's also the responsibility of the parent of any child or anybody else to watch their behavior around an animal. So that's just an example of to tell you why dogs bite. Is it really all that bad? Are they really being jerks? No, it's usually out of fear. The dog is likely being flooded, they're in a corner, they can't escape, they're tied to a leash, they're trapped, there's too much pressure, a lot of things going on that makes the dog bite. And usually animals bite as a last resort. Unless they're obviously hungry, they're trying to hunt you, and they're trying to eat you. That's something different. So now you get bitten by a dog. What do? Don't blame the dog and label them as aggressive, okay? Because when you do that, and that dog gets sent to the pound or a shelter or somewhere eventually later on in life, if they continue to bite, the dog has very little chance of getting out of there. When you label them something as aggressive, to me, true aggression is if a dog is alone in a field and it sees another person in that field. That one dog goes into a field, one person alone in that field, and the dog has all this acreage to run around in. They see this person, they go straight for that person, or dog, or rabbit, or whatever it may be. Okay, the dog sees that one individual walking around minding their own business, whatever it is, and they go straight for them to take them down, to cause damage to them, take chunks out, maybe tear them up, maybe not necessarily kill them, but take them down and cause damage. That, to me, in my book, is true aggression. Even so, that doesn't mean it can't be fixed. It doesn't mean that this dog cannot be trained properly or rehabilitated or socialized in a certain way or homed in a special home. It doesn't mean this animal needs to be put down. It could be something physically or psychologically. Sometimes dogs will have psychological issues that just makes them react, and it's really hard to work with those dogs. Or it could be something physical, some physical ailment that's hurting them, and whatever it is caused them to go after this other person or creature. Most of the time, if a dog just bites you out of nowhere, what seems like out of nowhere, then it's out of fear. You were getting in their space, you were not listening to them, maybe you stepped on them, or whatever it is. You're not paying attention to the animal. Be respectful of their space, like you would want them to be respectful of yours. So a dog bites you, say a quick little nip on the calf. They bite, release, that's it. What should you do? You don't necessarily need to go report this and give this dog a check mark. They go into a 10 to 14 day quarantine. They can't go outside. They're taken away from the home. They're, God forbid, the type of breed. They may be put down regardless, depending on the laws of the state. And don't go blaming necessarily the owner, okay? Because a dog bites you does not necessarily always mean the owner was being bad. They weren't correcting the dog. They weren't punishing the dog or watching the dog. Just analyze the situation and see what you could have done differently and what you have learned. Just be careful about the words and language you use when discussing and describing dogs' behaviors. If you say aggressive or dominant or just mean and scary, then you're going to paint this picture that is not necessarily true. Okay. With that all kept in mind, dogs are animals and they communicate in a certain way. They will likely give you a lot of warning signals before they bite. Eye flicks, lip licks, maybe they turn their head away, they turn their body away, they might lift a little foot, they might move the orientation of their body away from you, their tail may be down, their tail may be up, their ears are back, their pupils are dilated, you see the whites of their eyes, the whale eyes, lots of beautiful body language, warning signs that's so easy to miss if you don't pay attention, whether it's your own dog or a stranger's dog. So just pay attention, do some research maybe on dog warning signs, calming signals. If you wouldn't do it to a child, don't do it to a dog, because dogs have teeth and they will use them. And even so, they're not being bad, they're not being mean, they're not being aggressive. They're being a dog and they're talking to you. They give you a correction like you might give them a correction with a prong collar. Thanks for stopping by, everybody. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed my ranting. Let me know what you thought down in the comments below. Has this ever happened to you? Have you ever been bitten by a dog? Has your dog ever bitten anybody else? What happened in that situation? How did you handle it? Do you blame the dog or the person in that situation? Let me know if there's a specific subject you want to see next time, and I'll be sure to get that out. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe for more videos, and we will see you all next time. So thanks again for stopping by, and stay positive.